Hi, I'm back with Umjolo, There's No Cure. And as you can see by the light behind me, I didn't like it. We can all agree that the Umjolo series did not live up to its initial promise to us. It was very much giving mediocre. For the series to close off like that was not a good look for Netflix South Africa. I'm Khopotso, by the way. Welcome to Bioskop and Champagne, a place where we watch movies, series, and especially trash reality television. In this video, I will be talking about Umjolo, There's No Cure, and why I think the movie isn't that great. I will be talking about the acting. I will be talking about the world building. I will be talking about this moral question, whether queer roles should be set aside for queer actors, queer performers. Even before I saw the trailer, I had an inkling that they would go the route of presenting us a queer love story, and I was very excited about that. I was very much looking forward to it and wanting to see how they would represent queer love, even though it's essentially the same thing, right? Because we have been, burned before. When it comes to queer love, it's always so tragic, and there's always a sense of like struggle love. They have to struggle so hard just to get a little sliver of the love that heteronormatives possess. If you're not familiar with the Umjolo series, Umjolo is a series of movies that are streaming on Netflix South Africa that follows the romantic lives of 4 women as they navigate relationships and their journey of self-discovery. And Umjolo, There's No Cure is the 4th movie that has been recently released. It was released on Valentine's Day 2025. And guys, it was just okay. The movie itself follows the life of a former pageant queen who works on a memoir after losing her title for exposing a scandal. I don't even know their name. As I said before, the movie is just okay. It's just okay. The bar was so mediocre that I was just like, okay, this is what I'm left with. I have to watch Kosele in some way, right? And also do this video. It was such a disappointment, right? The movies as a whole, the whole series itself is quite a disappointment. I expected so much more. I think the only movie that is anything close to good is The Gone Girl. They put the bar very high-ish, I guess. And Umjolo, There's No Cure wasn't like amazing, but it was enjoyable. There were things they did very well, and there were things where I was just like, guys, there is a template as old as time. We know how romance movies work. You can always add a plot twist here and there, but the core story and the core plot points were not executed as well as they should have been with the budget they were given. It was giving amateur hour, and I'm not a fan of that at all. The script was not very well done. The performances of some of the talent that was in the movie wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. It just goes to show that you can have all the money in the world, but if you can't tell me a story that makes me care about all of the characters, then you have failed. One of those elements is how they handled Nana and Thuli's love story. For me, it was very considered, and it was an effortless depiction of a universe and time where homophobia and bigotry don't exist, much less have a leg to stand on. The director, Mthunzi Dubazana, in my opinion, never deigns to acknowledge the unsolicited hate the LGBTQIA plus community experiences on the daily, and instead molds a world that sees only love and not labels, where love is the norm and not heterosexuality. In watching Nana and Thuli's story unfold, the world they were living in, the universe that the director built around them, where it was devoid of all of the homophobia that I'm sure many queer people in this country experience every single day. When it comes to Nana, we see that the director made sure that there was no underlying pressure for Nana to come out and declare that she is queer, because labels are never given any import within the Umjolo universe. I commend the director for doing such a thing. It is very hard to do, to just create a world that simply is, that understands and sees only love. The hallowed coming out ceremony and the unconscious desire to make heteronormatives more comfortable and less fearful of what they don't understand was not pandered to by the director. And I truly think this decision was a stroke of genius on his part. All of the torture that has befallen the queer community as they try to live in their truth has been horrifying to see play out on a national stage. Hate crimes that use violence, fear, and shame as weapons to compel a community that just wants to be left alone is a reality that some cannot escape. Violence and the use of as a weapon, and perpetrators branding it as corrective as a means to cure them of their orientation and scare them into becoming straight, if you will, is a reality that openly queer women face daily. The verbal abuse hurled at them online and in real life is a huge component of how others weaponize shame and contribute to the deterioration of their mental health through using religious and traditional institutes as justification of such hate and bigotry. I think that Dubazana's world building of Umjolo wanted a reprieve from that hateful world. He shows us the possibilities of what a world where love is the norm can look like. And I feel like he has succeeded in that endeavor, where Nana, a painfully shy, introverted woman, can have the space to just fall for someone's heart without all of the unnecessary distractions that would otherwise take away from the joy of Umjolo, the joy of the relationship process. Thuli and Nana's love story isn't burdened by the shackles of having to come out to family, friends, and the world, which in a way is looked at as a prerequisite in order to make all of the heteronormatives in the room more comfortable, as well as the struggle, the pain, and the shame that comes with that. Dubazane and the writer Thuli Zuma erase all of that. And the existence of the story, the existence of the world that surrounds Nana and Thuli is such a triumph, in my opinion. That they made it so is something that I appreciated very much. It was sort of like a you to homophobia. And speaking of Nana's character, the performer who played her is Busisiwe Mjali, and she was exceptional. The nervous energy, the anxiety, and all of the nuances that came with an introvert were embodied by her heart and soul.
I'm just Nana. It's okay. All right.
She pulls you into her world without trying, and simply put, Busisiwe outperforms every single person on that set. She steals the show in every scene, and I am happier for it. Her chemistry with her business partner and male best friend Zweli, who is played by Yonda Thomas.
Apparently, she's like a Liana Ndlovu fan.
Oh, that is an amazing opportunity, right? That's great.
In my opinion, is way more powerful compared to chemistry she has with her love interest, Thuli, played by Londeka Sishi. And I must point out how There's No Cure and Day Ones has the same problem, which is that the director and writers seem very confused as to whom the story is really about. In day ones, they advertised Zanele's story, but instead showed us Andile's. And in this final installment, they tell us that it's Thuli's story that we will see.
An overachiever from a very young age. Beauty queen extraordinaire. There is no title Thoko hasn't achieved. Big or small, ghost, I'm a ghosty.
And yet, from my understanding, this movie is Nana's story through and through. I mean, how do you drop the ball in such logistics? It's like you advertise one thing and then you show us another. And they did it twice. Half the time, they sold us a dream that never even happened. Thuli, who is supposed to be the main character, the pageant queen, felt more like a love interest instead of the leading lady. In a story where the lovers are still to meet, the story scales need to lean in favor of the main character. And in this case, it should have been Thuli, the pageant queen. But instead, at the end of my viewing experience, what I thought was, wow, Nana's story was really, really cute. She carried this film on her back. In my mind, this is Nana's story about how a shy woman who has never been kissed, who has never been in a relationship, who has gone on too many dates, has finally broken out of her shell and is pursuing this larger-than-life character, this pageant queen, a Miss South Africa. And in the end, she does win her over with her charm. And I quite like that story better than what they advertised to me, which is this openly queer pageant queen who then falls in love with someone who is quite shy. And she finds out that that person she fell in love with is her favorite romance novelist. The love triangle that we see within the story that is between the ladies was bland at best. The chemistry between Nana and Thuli was non-existent. It was giving best friends who kiss girls on occasion. I would hazard to say that production did not conduct chemistry tests beforehand. The pre-production on this one, I feel like, was not done adequately, because when you watch the two ladies on screen, either when you watch Thuli and Nana together, it's not giving any chemistry. When you watch Thuli and I don't know the other lady's name. When you watch Thuli and the other lady be together as well, it's also giving like best friends, even though the other lady, she does try to like give off that energy of like, I'm in control, I am the top in this relationship. It feels like they were seeking to attach big names from the film and television space that would draw attention in and keep people watching. There was no passion whenever they were in each other's vicinity. Their love story, though very cute, was underwhelming, and I felt as if they were hoping that the novelty of having that representation of queer love in such a positive way would shield the film from being ripped apart for showing a love triangle that failed to convince us that love really lives here. The performances within that context were subpar and lacked star quality. And this was especially true in the one scene that's in the movie. The scene itself felt very performative and unnatural because there was no chemistry to speak of in the room. It essentially made me have the epiphany that maybe not all heterosexuals are qualified to play queer roles and queer characters. I genuinely asked myself where all of the queer female actors were when the casting of this film was actually happening. Did the casting directors actually put out feelers and intentionally look for performers that were openly queer to be the face of the stories that they live day to day. I was left wanting in the romance department because it did fall flat, and that's so unfair to the story they were trying to tell us as an audience. The chemistry felt very forced. It wasn't giving romance, and that's so freaking sad. It was a disservice to the world that the director and the writer were building, the world where there was no bigotry, there is no homophobia, and then for the love story to fall flat was such a letdown and sort of robbed the love story of its magic. The whole debate about setting aside the queer roles for queer actors, the question of should straight and cisgender actors still play queer characters, is very prudent, especially within the context of Umjolo, There's No Cure, because all of the characters within the love story are all queer. The fact that there is a sense of discrimination in that straight and cisgender actors sort of have this privilege over queer actors. When it comes to the straight actors playing a queer character on screen, it is seen as an opportunity for them to grow their craft as an actor, and they are consistently given those roles in order to, in a sense, show off their acting ability. I truly feel that the casting of There's No Cure should have tried harder and could have gotten really great talent, openly queer people who could have played these roles perfectly, could have played them to a T. And the fact that Thuli's publicist was the only token queer person in the movie irks me to the high heavens. I don't understand how she was the only token queer person ever in the whole series. Truly, I never got it. I never understood. That goes to show that they do know where to get all of the all of the talent that is openly queer, but they made sure to cast people that truly did not convince anyone. What a wasted opportunity on the production side to actually go all the way and cast all of the queer people that need to be cast for this movie to have been a success performance-wise. It was kind of confusing for me for them not to even have that stable of cast where it's like, okay, we have built a world where there's no homophobia, build a world where it is safe, where love is the norm and not heterosexuality. They should have brought in a stable of openly queer actors and performers to just give us something we haven't seen before. That's not to say that there aren't a huge list of straight and cisgender actors that have done their queer roles justice and have won awards. But what of all of the queer actors that haven't been getting work because of the discrimination they face due to their sexual orientation? For me, guys, this movie, as I said, very mediocre. I wouldn't watch it again if it wasn't for the fact that I have to do this video, and also for Busisiwe and Yonda as well. They just captured my heart. They just did a fabulous, fabulous job. I can't wait to see what Busisiwe does next. Her acting ability is out of this world. I can't. She was just too much for me. She stole the show. That's the one thing, other than her friendship with Zweli, that I actually remember. It was a sad day for the series. They opened up with the first movie at such a high note and then fell flat at the end. And that is such a very sad thing to witness. I hope we get another chance to redeem ourselves, because the creators of the series, the directors that created the worlds that we have been watching over the last 4 months, have failed us on an international level. To see day ones, my beginning, my end, and now this movie just fall flat on its face. I had such high hopes for this series. Hopefully there's like someone out there who will save us. Okay, we need more script writers in this country that are actually good. And I hope that we find you. Come to us, ziveze, show yourself, because we are waiting for you right now, not in the future. Now, we need you now. Because what we just saw was just so sad, because the bar is so low. So guys, that's all I have for you in this video. Please do tell me what you think of There's No Cure. Tell me below what you think about like the chemistry that wasn't even there, about the actors, about the story itself. Please don't forget to subscribe, like the video. And also guys, like, it's been such a pleasure also reading your comments. It's actually giving me the confidence to be like, oh my god, I can do this. So guys, this is your mother Bioskop signing out. Cheers. Bye.